Hello, it's Gaston here with Cardiff Uni-TV. We're with two very special charities here today. Tonight we're with Richard from the Terrence Higgins Trust and a man that needs no introduction. We've got Gareth Thomas here from Tackle HIV. Would you like to sort of tell us a bit about sort of what you're doing here? We're at the Cardiff Students Union today, of course, on the third day of the Freshers' Fair. Would you like to tell us a little bit about what you're doing today and what all this means?
Yeah, so we're here at the Cardiff University Freshers Week. We're on the myth-busting Tackle HIV bus tour. We've been to the Rugby World Cup recently in France, we've been to a Higgins rugby game, we've been to Manchester University, and we're coming here today. And it's really important because in one of our surveys, what we found was over half of the people surveyed between the age of 18 to 24 felt that they didn't need to take a STI test or a HIV test. And we providing testing, we're showing people the ease of testing, we're destigmatising testing, destigmatising the information around HIV, and showing a lot of these freshers that are coming here today and have been to the bus previously that HIV is a virus that can and does affect anyone.
So it's really trying to sort of bring that message home to sort of uni students, maybe coming to university, maybe not having the right information, not maybe knowing, how dangerous, it can be. What does this charity mean to you? Obviously, you set up 4 years ago. You founded the charity. What does it mean to you personally to sort of get that message out there?
It's a real personal lived experience that I come from. It's really important that I think people understand that this kind of campaign is not about me. It's about me using my lived experience to partner with a charity partner that is Terrence Higgins Trust, so that collectively we can make a better environment, not just for people living with HIV, but for families and for people who are also affected by HIV. And having an experience of self-stigma, where I stigmatise myself, but also experience stigma of where there is no need to be stigma, where people who, through misinformation and misunderstanding, have maybe left the restaurant because I've walked in there. I've not wanted to shake my hand because of fear of contracting the virus. So it's getting people to understand that science and medicine, especially over the last 40 years, has come so far and is so advanced that I now live with HIV. I take one tablet a day, and that suppresses the virus in my body, which means I'm undetectable, which means I cannot transmit the HIV virus to somebody through sexual contact. So for me, I live a very normal, happy, healthy life. HIV doesn't restrict what I'm capable of doing physically or mentally. Yet in society, it's very difficult to live a normal life when people are stigmatized against you, when people feel like or expect that you can't do certain things or that you shouldn't do certain things. So it's really important that for me, as somebody living with it, but more importantly, that we create a better environment for people who are still struggling to be able to live with it, or for families who are still struggling to get the understanding and the knowledge they need with it to provide care and help to their family member or to their friend who are also living with it.
Fantastic. And you talked about the sort of medicinal sort of processes that you have to go through. What sort of health organisations does Tackle HIV and indeed the Terrence Higgins Trust work with to make that impact in a sort of hospital or around?
Well, we have a fantastic NHS. I think the sexual health clinics were always something that to me had a massive stigma, and I always felt a sense of guilt going, or a sense of fear going to a sexual health clinic. But I very proudly go to the NHS. I get great advice, I get great care, I get great support from an association like the Terrence Higgins Trust, who counsel and help you deal with not only the stigma you feel yourself, but the stigma from other people. So I feel that there's great organisations out there, there's great help out there, there's great ways of medicine and connecting yourself to medicine out there. It's just making sure that as a campaign, what we do, the Tackle HIV, is mainly work on the one thing that potentially over the next 10 years could kill 400,000 people, and that's the stigma around HIV. That's not the virus itself, because the medicine and the science looks after that if you get tested and if you know your status. But for stigma itself, it's really important that we stamp down on that, because the thought of 400,000 people dying over the next 10 years from the stigma of HIV is something that we feel that we need to fight against.
Absolutely, and it's clearly just a big thing about raising that awareness and breaking that stigma down. Richard, obviously you're a very close working charity with Tackle HIV. Would you like to tell us a little bit about the Terrence Higgins Trust and sort of their work in this?
So the Terrence Higgins Trust is the first HIV charity anywhere in Europe, named after Welshman Terry Higgins, who died of an AIDS-related illness in 1982, having collapsed in a gay nightclub. And we're trying to bring his story back to where it starts here in Wales and make sure that even though the story seems old, it's applicable to young people, and that if you're going out having sex, you need to make sure you're testing regularly for STIs and HIV. If you drive a car, occasionally you'll get a parking ticket or a speeding fine. It's the same when you're having sex. And it just means you need to test regularly. And when you're testing regularly, there's loads of strategies for taking negative for STIs and HIV, whether it's using condoms. There's a drug now called PrEP that if you take, you can't acquire HIV. So we've got loads of ways that you can stay HIV free and be in control of your sexual health. And we're just here with Gareth to share that message.
Could you explain sort of like your own personal relationship and sort of how that sort of contributed to your success as a charity?
So Gareth is an amazing patron of the Terrence Higgins Trust, but we wanted to do something really special and go above and beyond. So we're working with Vive Healthcare, our charity, with Gareth's campaign on Tackle HIV, and bringing together people who are the best in the business at either reaching out or having the best medicine with somebody like Gareth's profile is just so important, because Gareth gets us out of a kind of bubble. Gareth can speak because of what he has done, 100 caps, not just for Wales but for the Lions, but his TV personality being a TV chef and other things that we've seen him do in these special programmes, he speaks to people that we can't day in, day out. So we're so lucky to have him and have him here at Cardiff today.
Fantastic. And Gareth, of course, you're doing, excuse my lack of Welsh pronunciation here, but you're climbing Penavan. Penavan, is that correct?
Yes, so as well as giving verbal information, I feel it's really relevant and really important to give physical examples of not being restricted by HIV. And I think many people's assumption of somebody living with HIV is that physically they're very restricted to what they're capable of doing. So for us now, tomorrow, we're climbing Penavan, which is the highest mountain in South Wales, but not just once, not just twice, not just 3 times, but 10 times. And we're doing it 10 times up and down because the relevance of 10 times is the combined distance that it would be to get from the bottom to the top of Mount Everest. And I feel everyone has their own Mount Everest to climb, regardless of your situation. Yet most people who contract HIV through stigma feel like they're at the bottom of a Mount Everest at some point in their life and there's no way of getting to the top. So I feel the significance of us climbing Penavan tomorrow 10 times within 24 hours, so through the dark, shows a sign and a sense of what most people will have to feel or have felt through a diagnosis of HIV, and that's a sense of resilience. That's a sense of needing to keep moving on. That's a sense of feeling alone in the dark at certain times, but knowing the light is coming. So there's lots of narratives that we can draw from going up and down Penavan 10 times tomorrow. And if somebody says to me one more time, Penavan is easy because I think I'm doing it once, I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna kill him.
You'll have to make them come along with you, at the very least. Well, that's great, and thank you very much for all that really important information. I've been Adam Gaston with Cardiff Uni-TV. Thank you to Richard Angell from the Terrence Higgins Trust and Gareth Thomas from Tackle HIV. And thanks very much for listening. We will leave all the links to the relative charities in the description of our YouTube channel, and of course you can check out their Instagram pages, which we will also leave in the description. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much, boys. Thanks.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
very much.